Now then, this week's video, I thought we would come out and have a look at another job we're on, rather than just keep going for the farm and down Ironbridge, what we've done quite a bit of so far. For everyone who watches quite often, can you just comment down below? I'm doing this video at a bit higher frames per second and a bit better resolution. I'm trying to get the videos to come out a little bit better on TVs, larger TVs. A few people have said that when they put the videos on the TVs, the picture quality is not there. So let me know, please. It helps. Anyway, Blackburn Town Hall. We've been on this for about 7 weeks now, and all the scaffolding's up. And I just want to take you through it. There's not going to be a lot of what we're actually doing. I'm just called down today just to have a look how the lads are getting on, but I thought I'd bring you along with me and we can have a look and see what we're doing on this project. We're in the centre of Blackburn Town Hall at the minute. There is this huge quadrangle inside and you can just see all the roofs of the outer building. What we've got is this cement based render on here, and you can see it is cracked everywhere, and we've got moss growing out of it. And here again, the council have been fitting out inside the building, giving it a lick of paint, making it look nice, and there's been some issues once they've done this with water ingress in and around this area. We come out here and did the surveying work for the council on the rendered walls, the parapets, and everything where we could be potentially getting water ingress into the building. And we quickly realised that it was the render that was the main issue and the parapets. So we've got a full scheme now to do it. There is 750 square metres of rendering on this building to do, which is quite a lot. We've started knocking off, all this is off, this is off, that's off. And if we turn round to this side, got all this to do, and this goes down, I think there's about 13 decks of scaffolding down there. And then we've got this flat roof area, we've covered this atrium up. And again, you can see we've got cracking all down here, cracking all up the sides, cracking all over here. This area we've already got off and that's been pointed up. The lads are just working down here pointing this. We've got the parapets that we're doing as well. Lee's just over there. We grouted all the parapets yesterday. Scott's here, start managing. Loving life. Living the dream. Living the dream. Some of these bricks have perished and we've got probably, about an inch gap here where the bricks eroded. Some of it's damaged from taking the render off. But what we're doing now is pointing like this, because what we want to do, all these holes, we want to fill all these holes in, and where we've got mortar out here, we're also wanting to fill all these up so we've got a level surface to render from. This is one of the areas we've already pointed this up. Don't drop in the comments now and saying it's an awful job at pointing. We're not trying to point this to our standard. It's all going to get rendered over. All we're trying to do with this exercise is just fill in any deep voided areas so that we can have a level area of render we're putting on. Got a masonry strip up here, so we're going to reinforce all this when we render it with reinforcing mesh. And the lads are just on with this area, pointing all this up. This side's already been done as well. And once we've got this side complete, we're going to crack on later on this week in the base coat renders on here. We've just got the beading to put on. We're putting some plastic beading on the corners, and we're using plastic so that we don't get a differential thermal movement between the render, the brickwork and the bead, whereas plastic is a bit more cohesive with the line render and the brickwork. The metal expands and contracts more, so we don't use metal, galvanised, stainless, anything like that, plastic. What we've got in here is a black ash mortar for the original building mortar. What we've done is replicated that with the mortar that we're placing on to fill all the voids up. This is a hybrid mix, Calbux NHL 3.5 with 2 parts sand and 1 part coal ash. So the coal ash should work well. And again, there's a mortar that's very similar to what we've got here now. We're also working around all these ventilation shafts. This is an emergency fire escape. So it is an absolute nightmare and a warren of fixed infrastructure that we need to work around. And we've got here different masonry work here, brickwork here, and you can see where we've just been pointing out, ready to put this levelling coat on next.
And fill it back up to right to top, then we're getting it.
Yeah. Well, they took a lot.
Took a fair bit, yeah.
Are they?
Yeah. Dewey's been in this morning and checked. I was a bit worried yesterday, I couldn't get in, but
especially that side down there, it took 3 of them.
3 or 4 jugs
yeah.
in one joint.
So this is the problem we've got up here. Like every projection masonry job that we do, got big voids in it. You can see where we've grouted up to. So what they're doing, what Lee's just been saying, is that they did some yesterday and they were just pouring jugs of grout into it. So today they're going back over them again because the grout will have dried a bit and it won't go as far. So I'm going to put a bird's nest up here. I'll just put a link here for the video that shows us doing grouting on another job somewhere. We've got all the way down here, all this has been pointed and they've just started pointing this up this morning. This is a big issue that we found with projections like this. Again, typical lead capping on to stop the water getting in, when actual fact it's the masonry that needs grouting and not pointing. Everybody thinks, oh, point it, we'll sort it. It doesn't. Grouting is what you need to do. You need to get in full depth of the stone. You can only do that on these fine joints by grouting. On this one, we've knocked all the render off, but as yet we haven't been back over it to take out all this sand and cement that's in the joints. We have done on the one that we're currently pointing, but all this needs to come out as well, because this is going to stop breathability in the wall because it's hard. All the lighting and power has all been disconnected as well on these elevations, and now this is the light well. Started off up there, and that's how far we've got to go down. Put a rubble chute in as well to get rid of all the material. Another problem that we found while we were doing the surveying work was the sills for the windows have been replaced at some point with concrete sills, and these sills are all now blowing. The rebar in there, the steel rebar, is rusting and hydraulically jacking, blistering all the concrete off, and that is what first alerted the council to this issue, was lumps of concrete on the floor, and every single sill in this area has been replaced for concrete. So we are now taking the concrete out and putting stone in. Mark, one of the masons, has made himself a beautiful little shelter. I'll put it up now. Up at the farm project where we were making the concrete blocks when we put the retaining wall in, and he's up there currently making, I think, 70 new stone sills for this project. They are all to the same design, just different widths. So he's going to be there for the next few weeks producing all these new stone sills, and this is what we've got, where the sills are blowing The render that's going back on is not a traditional lime render. Using hydraulic based, we are using a formulated bagged lime for this. This is just for the fact that we don't want to paint this, and trying to put all the scaffolding up every 5 years, 10 years to lime wash is a no-go. I would love to have done it in a hydraulic base, you know, an NHL2, something like that, but the maintenance is going to be an issue, and it always is on these big commercial jobs and places like this. What we are doing though is analysing all the watershed areas on the building, because we don't want any water running down this render. So all the lead details, we're putting an oak beading underneath them to throw the lead projections out further. Just seen we're doing the grouting on the parapets. Everything's going to be detailed so that we manage the water, we decide where the water goes, and not allow any water to go where we don't want it to go. That's going to be the key to success on this project. On this, I think we've got about 13 of our lads on here at the minute working on this project. We need to ramp it up a little bit more, probably up to about 15 at some point next week or the week after, once the rendering starts, because we need to be progressive, knocking existing render off, pointing up, rendering, and then also putting all the rainwater goods back on, refitting the emergency lighting systems, everything like that. So it is a bit of a quick turnaround, and we're getting into September. We don't want to be rendering this in November or something like that. So we're really conscious that time is of the essence at the minute, and we want to get the most rendering done we can as quickly as possible, but correctly as well. We've got aircon units to take off at some point when we get down here. This is down at the bottom. We've got here, and then there's another sub level below that. But you can see the extent of the render. And the windows as well, just replacing all these window sills is a massive task in itself. Well, there's a nice one there. We'll just go over there. This is one of the sills that has got this big crack in it, and this is where the rebar is in the sill. I'll just get a knife on it, see if I can dig it out. Yeah, there we go. Rust, rust, rust. You can just peel it off. So eventually this face is going to come off as well and fall, hopefully nobody underneath it. Well, it's not going to do now because we're going to put a lovely stone one in. So this is how we get in to the Lightwell area, and this is where all the materials coming into the project and then going back out of the project all need to be ferried down these corridors, which is no mean feat. It's quite a way, especially when you're moving materials around. We've got a load of plaster here ready to go. And around here we've got a bit of a little compound area inside. So we've stacked bags and bags of plaster up. I think there's 10 palletfuls of plaster here, and that's about a third of what we need. There is quite a bit of rendering to do on this. This is a lime green product that we're using. The base coat is an insulating plaster, which is really light, handy for carting all the way down that corridor. The white bags over there are top coat. Probably going to do a sponge finish or something like that. We haven't decided yet. We need to put a couple of samples out for the council to have a look at. Bought this little beauty, thinking it was going to make life easy, but it doesn't fit through that door. Well, it does just about. I said to Scott, I said just chop skip up if you need to. I think they're It's 48 volt electric, really a little bit of kit because we had it running around in corridors, and I think it was about 1900 quid. So I said to Scott, I said, chop skip up, don't matter, it'll pay for itself in this job. But he said even at doing that, it still won't do. So hey ho, they're just using barrows. We've got a little compound here, welfare unit, skip. I bought that the other day actually, just emptied it. But we can get one of our skips in, so we're just a hardcore, just a render we're putting in there, so we can get rid of it. And as you've seen earlier, we've got some sills here ready to go in, and I've got one lads in joinery shop to make these up to set the corner beads in. We thought it might be easy. 23mm render we're putting on, so we thought put some blocks on there at 23mm, and then that we can just like, I haven't got a corner, we'll use the portal. You can just put that on there and then just press the beads on and it'll set them to 23mm. Might work, might not, but thinking outside the box as always. If you could just remember, video, was the quality any better than the previous videos if you've been watching and you've managed to make it all the way through the video? Just drop me a comment, because I think a lot of our viewers view on TVs and I want to make the videos as clear as possible. It makes them easy to watch, so let me know and I can mess around with the next one. Anyway, that's it, wrapped up. Catch you next one.